Hello, YouTube. How's everyone doing? It's
187 at
Professional here.
5810 Murata Avenue. Homicide wants you over there. The coroner thinks the broad was whacked using the army morphine. Don't say anything, Roy. Just get over there.
Hello guys, welcome to my next part of LA Noire. If you guys are enjoying this series, drop a like, it helps the series out a lot. And this case, I don't think I've ever played this case before. I think this is a DLC case, because I've never played the DLC cases before, so you'll see my first attempt at playing this case. Hopefully I get everything
Your interest
wrong.
in my appearance is starting to get me worrying.
Like it or not, we're a dysfunctional couple now. People judge me with you on my arm same way they would a fat broad with a 5 o'clock shadow.
I really hope you're joking, Roy.
Extra!
Hard to take. Oh, we gotta do this. Can I take this? We gotta do this. This is gonna be great. Will this actually work?
What's wrong with a good old-fashioned black and white?
Okay, yeah, this... Can he even get into it? Oh, he will. Okay.
Central unit. Citizen reports suspicious activity on a trolley car on Fountain Avenue. Stand by for further information. Any Central unit?
Also, guys, I'm sorry about the tiny flickering that you might see on the video. I've reduced it. It has...
We recovered the morphine. Some of it might be unaccounted for, so what? That's life. We did our job.
Closing one case opens another.
Do you have any idea what is really going on while we're wasting our time following this stuff?
Are you going to tell me?
The deals being done right now will change the face of LA forever, and we're wasting our time on some hump.
Someone's little girl.
Visit the morgue at the end of the month when the John and Jane Does are cremated. Their percentages. The odds for and against lightning striking.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about the tiny flickering, guys. I hope that's not too annoying. I don't know what's causing it. Like, I haven't played on this computer in months because I'm visiting family, and I don't know, like, I know it's not the graphics card, so I'm trying to still figure it out what's happening, but I've noticed it's happening less now. Pulling up with the fire truck too. Murder scene, okay.
Second floor, apartment 6, in the back.
It's a pretty fancy
Thanks.
apartment building. This is definitely a very fancy apartment building. Oh, Stefan,
Bukowski, you made homicide.
That I did.
my
Good to
favorite
see you,
partner.
Phelps.
You two want a hug? Or can we get on with it?
Relax, Rusty.
26 years old, fashion model. Found in the tub by the cleaning lady, Mrs. Reynoldson. She called it in.
We heard Carruthers thinks...
Carruthers likes to make work for people. Overdose of sleeping pills. Falls asleep in the tub. Rest in peace. Case closed.
Here,
Again,
here.
with the laziness.
Mal is 100% that it's murder.
Do you mind if I take a look around?
Sure, go right ahead.
This is all top end of town stuff. Gives us somewhere to look.
Nothing back here.
There's been a modeling assignment. It's a place to start.
Hollywood 6582 Hollywood Boulevard. I'm working Tuesday 11 to 4 p.m. Come keep me company. Ask for Miss Randall Julia.
Beautiful girl. Clothes certainly aren't from the Sears catalog.
Sears was a company back then, and Sears was a much bigger company back then than what it is today. One of the reasons that Sears beat all the other competition was because their catalog was really the early Amazon. You find their catalog and you could order what you wanted from it. And the Sears catalog, the reason it beat all the other catalogs was for one simple reason. It was smaller than the other catalogs. The other catalogs were like hundreds of pages of stuff. The Sears catalog was smaller, it was more simple, and because of that, that's what's made Sears the company it is. So ironically, keeping everything simple and small is actually what people like. They didn't like all the big catalogs. Okay, I don't know who this person is here, but I'm gonna tell you is that in a crime scene, everybody would be kicked out of the place. So even if it was like an apartment where a family member lived, they'd be kicked out of it until the investigation is over. So nobody would be inside the apartment. Only the police would be in here. Oh. Like how Cole can just pick up nonsense. The murder weapon? Not, okay. I look at the clothes?
No good to me.
Phelps?
Mal, we've had a look around. Rusty thinks it's a waste of time. What's your theory?
Come on, Mal. Tell us why we were dragged down here.
If the victim was alive when she entered the tub, water would have entered her lungs. The water is violently churned in the windpipe as she drowns. The result is that a lot of foam is generated. This foam is found at the mouth and nostrils in almost all cases of real drowning. Notice anything about our Vic?
May I took a look?
I already see something. Yep. The neck.
Take a closer look at her head and neck.
Yep. Looks like strangulation. It looks like she got strangled. Yep. What is this? Is that a bite
Bruising
mark?
on the forearms, and these look like bite marks.
Very good.
Hell are we dealing with here?
A very unusual ring.
Another bite mark?
It looks like a black sapphire. The eyes are a classic sign of morphine, and the bruises tell their own story. I think one man held her down and another held her arm and injected her. They put her in the bath to try to cover it as a drowning.
And spread a trail of barbiturates.
Take a look around outside on your way out and see if you can find the syrettes. It would make my theory.
And morphine would have been very quick, and there wouldn't have been much of a struggle.
Okay, so find two guys who recently bought syrettes and weren't junkies, and you might be onto something.
And so this case shows you just how much drugs affect everything and just cause so many more crimes. So many people dying, becoming addicted, committing crimes. Just so much stuff. And remember that Courtney only stole the morphine because he wanted to, you know, provide money for a lot of the veterans that were coming back from the war. He wanted to sell it to the mafia, make a quick buck, and help a lot of the veterans out. He didn't want all this destruction and killing, but unfortunately, that is the world of drugs. That's what happens.
Doesn't look like anything.
He was a very tough soldier, but he couldn't seem to realize the effects that drugs would have on the public. Looks like it's from Japan.
Quality English smoking jacket. I don't know anyone under 45 who would wear one.
That's these. Pills?
Looks like barbiturates. Barbiturates. What else is rattling around in this thing?
Sleeping pills. Why is there somebody on the floor, too? Oh, here we go.
We should speak to a doctor. Prescribing both drugs would make her life a roller coaster.
Take one capsule after... I can't even read it fully. Take one capsule after a meal once daily. 20 capsules. Benzedrine. I don't know what this is for.
Help me out.
You want to talk to the cleaning lady? Be my guest.
I'm Detective Phelps. I'm here to try and help Julia. Do you mind answering some questions?
Virginia Reynoldson, I'm just so shocked. I feel like there's something I should be doing, someone I should call.
We can make those calls, ma'am. Who needs to be notified?
That's just it. I don't know. Miss Julie doesn't have any family in town. Someone has to set her affairs in order. Mr. Henderson, maybe? Who else is there?
That the person the jacket belongs to?
If you give the details to the other detectives, ma'am, they can try and get in contact.
Okay, maid and housekeeper. Her state of mind is... She looks visibly upset. It doesn't look like she's hiding something. Victim's state of mind.
I can't stand around here all day waiting for you. Her face beneath the water? I need to do something.
Was Miss Randall depressed about something? Upset?
No more than normal.
Prescription for course of amphetamines. Made out to Julia Randall. Ooh, here. Troubled sleep and depression. Yep.
What are you hiding here, Mrs. Reynoldson? Julia was obviously disturbed about something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Prescription.
If you were any kind of a
Oh, come on. Seriously. Is it the other one? Is it the pills? That's stupid. I'm pissed about this right now. It was the other one. It was the pills. So like I thought the prescription would be it, but no, it's not. It was the pills. It was that. Ooh, it was that. Oh man, I'm frustrated. This is why one thing I hate about LA Noire, because it was technically technically the pills in the prescription were the exact same thing, and so I couldn't use that. I had to use the pills that were on the floor. But damn.
Was Miss Randall depressed about something? Upset?
No more than normal.
What are you hiding here, Mrs. Reynoldson? Julia was obviously disturbed about something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so... Prescription for course of amphetamines made out to Julia. I wanted to put this because it's also an extra prescription. And it had the pills in it also, which I thought that would be good. But apparently you need to show this sleeping pills. Phenobarbital pills in silver pill box prescribed for troubled sleep and depression. Let's see if this works.
She was taking barbiturates. Yep. She couldn't sleep. You must have seen them in her room.
You've seen the pill box. The things she hid in there. I don't know.
I literally brought this up the first time. I brought up the pill box with the amphetamines inside it. I thought that would be the evidence, because it was the pills and also the amphetamines that are inside the pill box, but apparently the game does not register that. That should have been the right answer also. It should have been the evidence.
How she supported herself. Always new clothes and jewelry. She lived like a movie star. A princess. Does modeling really pay that well?
Victim's personal life. And yes, it does. It depends on, what company they're doing it for, but yes. Victim's personal life.
Did Miss Randall have many friends visit?
I'm not sure. I only come around twice a week.
Lying. The men's sleeping jacket, yep. I only come around twice a week. Oh.
Why are you lying to me, Mrs. Reynoldson? Julia had men stay here.
I will not speak ill of the dead. You can't prove that.
And the men's smoking jacket.
Who owns the smoking jacket?
I wouldn't like to tell tales, you understand. But that's Mr. Henderson's. An older man, very distinguished looking. He seemed very much in love with her.
Where would we find him?
I'm sorry. I don't know. He said he lives in San Francisco.
So people do this in real life, is they withhold information even if they have nothing to do with the case. It's because they might be trying to protect the victim's reputation. So people will oftentimes withhold this. So if somebody was doing some bad things beforehand, involved with some bad people, the people, witnesses, and friends and family might not tell the police that this happens in real life because they are scared that might go to the media and that might make their friend or family member look like a bad person. But the police need to know all of this information. If they're going to help the victim, they're going to get justice for them, they need to know all this information. And so it seems like this cleaning lady had a lot of respect for this woman, but she doesn't want to give this information out that she was, meeting up with this guy, and this guy might have been involved in something bad.
I can't stand around here all day waiting for you. Her face beneath the water? I need to do something.
He's worried about her reputation, relationship with victim.
What was it like working for Miss Randall?
Perfectly fine, officer.
Okay. Something's wrong. Let me see what lot accuses.
You're hiding something, Mrs. Reynoldson. There's something about Julia's past that you don't want to tell me.
And how do you come to that conclusion, young man? What makes you think I know anything about her past?
It's nothing personal. I'm just doing my job.
I don't think it's...
You understand that?
I think it's a doubt. Let me ask the question again.
What was it like working for Miss Randall?
Perfectly fine, officer.
No.
Mrs. Reynoldson, it seems like there's something you want to tell me.
She was very high-strung. Lovely one moment and screaming at you the next. She wanted it all, and she wanted it damn quick. Of course, being so beautiful, it seemed like she was going to get it. Not the way it's turned out, though, is it?
Thanks, Mrs.
Got it.
Reynoldson.
Yeah, the way that she looked away, I knew she was lying.
One of the other detectives will take your statement, and then you can go home.
The way she, looked away like that, nothing, everything's okay, officer, and just looked away like that, I knew there was something off at that point. Okay.
So what next?
You want to go digging around in drains trying to support Mal's theory? You go ahead. I'm not getting my hands dirty.
Stefan, Rusty, we'll take a look around outside and then follow up these leads. Can you get some guys to run down the jacket?
You think Carruthers has called it right?
He rarely gets it wrong.
I don't know. I'm with Galloway. I've met enough girls in my time who can't handle their dope.
Check here. Oh, we got it right away. See how quick I found that? And it's because criminals will actually dump stuff relevant to the crime scene in the garbage right next to it. Like, they'll dump like a murder weapon, drugs, whatever else important to a case 1 block away from a crime scene. They think the police are stupid.
Mal will be pleased.
Well, that's hardly conclusive, given the number of those things we've come across recently.
The autopsy will confirm it one way or another.
Yes, and the autopsy will actually be able to...
our work is done here.
They'll be able to confirm whether this was the needle that she took. They will be able to.
Help me out.
Our doctor was prescribing enough pills to stop a horse. Maybe we should pay him a visit.
The reason I'm asking the partner where to go is because sometimes you're not supposed to go in the correct order that the game gives you, because like right in the order, so it'll be the doctor's practice. Because then it'll lock you out of certain things, and you guys have told me in the comments that if I actually... We'll take the cop car this time. You guys have told me in the comments that I have to ask my partner, and he'll tell me which is the right order to go in.
Bukowski, Galloway, quite the little reunion in there. Almost brought a tear to my eye.
They're good police.
How would you know? You got promoted so fast you barely had time to learn their names. Let me fill you in. Bukowski's a pushover. Galloway's a drunk.
You could learn a thing or two from both of them.
Please. They couldn't work a vice case if their life depended on it.
I don't see why they'd be any better or worse at it than me.
I noticed you said better. Hubris disguised as humility. Kind of your trademark, don't you think?
Why do you always twist everything? Galloway's got nothing to prove. He's been on homicide for years.
And he's welcome to it. You're a terrier, Phelps, and that's what I need. Not some old bulldog who can't get up a flight of stairs.
All units in the vicinity and any central unit. Citizen reports of 415 at 7th and Central. Unit to handle code 2. Identify.
Look where you're going!
I like how Cole was defending Rusty even though they didn't have the best relationship. Absolutely fireproof. And richer, cleaner, and bolder. The finest tobacco in America. Smoke Valor cigarettes. The most doctors prefer. Filter up cigarettes. And this was actually realistic, that back then, there actually would be ads like this for cigarettes that would say that cigarettes are really healthy for you. And have you ever noticed that cigarettes are not allowed on TV? There's no ads for them on TV. You might see them in movies, but there's certainly not going to be like an ad on TV for it. And that's because federally, they've actually been banned from showing ads on TV. That's why you only see cigarette ads online or in magazines. And yes, a cigarette company would pay a doctor to have a cigarette brand outside his office, like as an advertisement, because they would say, oh, the doctor smokes this, so you'll be fine too.
Here, Stoneman, office 505.
Take the elevator? Oh, we can.
I swear, if we locked up every doctor in this town, Vice would be able to work half days.
Yes, sir, your name?
LAPD. We'd like to see Dr. Stoneman.
Dr. Stoneman is with a patient.
Dr.
Would you like to
Stoneman,
wait?
I just realized.
No, we wouldn't.
It's
Tell him we
it's a
wanna see
drugs
him
case.
now.
There's
Dr.
no need
Stoneman.
to be rude.
Save it, sister.
Dr. Stoneman, I have some
Dr.
gentlemen
Stoneman.
from the LAPD here to see you.
Send them in, please. I'll see this patient again after they've left.
Dr. Stoneman?
Wonder if that
we're
patient has something to do
investigating
with
the death
it.
of one of your patients, Julia Randall.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Do you mind if we ask you some questions about Ms. Randall?
Not if it doesn't compromise doctor-patient privilege, Detective.
So, doctors are not allowed to give certain information out, but I'm not sure really how this would affect, like, a police investigation, because the doctor would, if the doctor knows something medically that is important to the case, he technically would have to tell the police. Let's see.
How well did you know Miss Randall?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
July 46. And it's 1947 right now. Let me ask that one more time.
You cleared my schedule for that? Clearly there's more, Detective.
How well did you know Miss Randall?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
And what is there any way for me to see what year it is right now?
You cleared my schedule for that? Clearly there's more, Detective.
Oh, it's not. I'm not able to see what year it is now, but...
How well did you know Miss Randall?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
Julia Randall has been your patient for nearly a year. I'm sure you know that.
Do you doubt my veracity, Detective? Do you have access to my patient records?
Prescription, yep. July 1946.
Your prescriptions contradict you, Doctor.
Miss Randall was in the fashion business, as you probably know. She was jumped up on Benzedrine by day and knocked down by sleeping pills at night. I told her to slow up, but no. Life was too short for her.
And you supplied the prescription for the Benzedrine.
It's not illegal, Detective. A lot of young women in her line of work use it for weight loss.
Yeah, so it's a good thing that I remembered the game takes place in 1947. It's a good thing I remembered that. Additional medications.
You wrote Julia Randall a prescription for Benzedrine. How can you account for that?
Miss Randall was in the fashion business. She wanted to control her weight.
I wanna...
You cleared my schedule for that? Clearly there's more, Detective.
I wanna hear this.
You wrote Julia Randall a prescription for Benzedrine. How can you account for that?
Miss Randall was in the fashion business. She wanted to control her weight.
A bad cop.
Benzedrine is addictive, as I'm sure you know, Doctor.
As I warned her, but she was determined. She said she needed it to control her appetite.
Sounds like you knew her pretty well.
I knew the line of work she was involved in.
That'll be all for now, Dr. Stoneman. We'll be in touch.
Not much help.
Not getting any...
Your investigation is much more important than my sciatica. I'm just in pain here. Leave me alone.
Yeah, because that guy just walked out really quickly, like, without arguing or anything when the police showed up, and so I was wondering if he had something to do with it, that guy that was seeing the doctor.
The old boy's lying.
About what?
I don't know. He looked relieved when you said she was dead. That's a strange reaction to have to the death of a young patient.
And Roy is right. I feel like there's way more that the doctor had not told us, that he seems to have known her way better than what he described.
Advice?
I say we check out the dress shop.
A lot of you guys wanted me to drive different cars, so I'm just messing around with that. Take this one.
Trouble for both fighters. Up they come and at it they go again. But it's about all over for Matteo's reporting.
Have you noticed how croakers only pull out the physician-patient privilege card when they got something to hide?
There are certain things people have a right to keep private.
Until it gets in the way of police work. And it's only private when it suits them. A couple of drinks and every doctor I've met will spill your darkest secrets in a heartbeat.
Doctors cannot talk about your medical condition with anybody, by the way. That is illegal. They can't do that. They can only talk about your medical condition with somebody if you give them permission. This place looks fancy.
Well, hello. What can I help you with today?
LAPD, ma'am.
I hope I haven't done anything wrong.
No, ma'am. We're making some inquiries about Julia Randall. Does she work here?
No, I had to let her go. Is she in some sort of trouble?
She was found dead this morning.
Owner and proprietor of a DS signed fashion boutique. Very straight face about it.
How long had Julia worked as a model?
Well, she worked in New York before coming here. She was a very beautiful girl.
Watch it again.
Is that all you wanted, officer?
You see that again. I think that might have been a true.
How long had Julia worked as a model?
Well, she worked in New York before coming here. She was a very beautiful girl.
I'll try good cop.
Could you tell us why you let
I
Miss
got it
Randall
right,
go?
yep.
Husbands sometimes come in here with their wives. When Julia Randall modeled, the husbands were often more interested in her than they were their wives' dresses. The wives weren't happy, and neither was I.
That's a motive right there.
Did she have any close friends here?
Actually, yes. Heather Swanson. Would you like to speak with her?
I'd like that very much. Please don't inform her about Miss Randall's death.
Very well, officer. Heather, these gentlemen are from the LAPD.
I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Earl. I understand that you worked with Julia Randall, Miss Swanson?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to pause for a moment here. Notice what Cole said to her. It was actually very important. Cops do that in real life. He said, don't tell her about her death, about Julia's death. The reason that he didn't want her to tell her is because she could have then tried to create an emotion. She could have tried to create a face for that, like a reaction for that. He wanted to see their first face, because like when you tell somebody that somebody is dead, you know, the very first time, it's kind of messed up. But it's important to see their first reaction when police see that. Because some people are, you know, don't have much of a reaction. That doesn't mean they're guilty. But it could mean something else. That they're possibly involved or they know something about it when they're not surprised. So that's very important to see that person's first reaction right there. And also, we got a motive right here. The motive is that she was basically possibly in relationship with several married men. That was a motive right there. So somebody might have gotten angry, wanted to kill her, like a wife could have gotten a hitman. There's a bunch of possibilities here. Now we have a bunch of suspects.
Julia helped me get my job here. She's not in any kind of trouble, is she?
She's a hellraiser, isn't she? Lives a fast life.
Oh, no. Maybe Mrs. Stanley would call her that, but I wouldn't. She's full of life, wonderful company.
That's a lovely engagement ring.
Do you like it? Henry gave it to me.
I'm very interested in engagement rings. Do you mind if I take a closer look? That's some pearl, Miss Swanson. Would have cost Henry a fortune. He must really love you.
Fashion model and friend of Julia, in relationship with victim.
How did you meet Julia?
I was introduced through my fiancé, Henry Arnett.
Let me see.
Don't go away, detective. I want to know what this is about.
That one more time.
How did you meet Julia?
I was introduced through my fiancé, Henry Arnett.
I'm gonna go good cop.
Henry is your beau. Tell us about it.
Yes, he is. Henry has a fashion business. He and Julia have been friends for years.
Okay. Informed of Mr. Henderson.
Are Miss Randall and Mr. Henderson engaged?
Who's he?
Julia was kept by this Henderson character. The apartment, the clothes, the jewelry. Was she a call girl?
How would I know? What evidence is there that says that Julia is a prostitute?
Tough one.
Looks like I was mistaken.
Don't go away, detective. I want to know what this is about.
Informed of Mr. Henderson.
Are Miss Randall and Mr. Henderson engaged?
Who's he?
Julia was kept by this Henderson character. The apartment, the clothes, the jewelry. Was she a call girl?
How would I know? What evidence is there that says that Julia is a prostitute?
Housekeeper. I might get this. Ah!
If Julia is hard, it's because of her background. To put it politely, she was quite poor. But a call girl?
I should have used a
think
jacket.
that's ridiculous.
I should have used a jacket.
That's all. Are Miss Randall and Mr. Henderson engaged?
Who's he?
I'll try good cop here.
She was wearing a sapphire engagement ring. Someone must have given it to her.
She never mentioned a man named Henderson to me.
That's all for now, Miss Swanson. Could you ask your fiancé to visit Hollywood Police Station? It would be very helpful to our inquiry.
Now, wait a moment. I don't think I'll pass on that message until you tell me why you're asking all these questions.
Julia Randall was found dead this morning.
What? Oh, no. Oh, I can't believe it. She was so full of life.
Important to see her reaction to that too. And it turns out it was truth. But I will say this though, the reason I wanted to accuse on that and seeing like what Julia's connection to this man was because a lot of times friends know their friends better than family members. Like I'm not talking about her being like a prostitute or anything like that in this case, What I'm just saying is that she would have known probably that Julia has some connection to this Henderson guy. That's why I was doing the accused there. But think about it in real life, though. Your best friends probably know you personally better than maybe some of your family members do. Because when your best friends are most likely in the same age group as you, and so you're going to share things with your friends that you're not necessarily going to share things with your family, and you also partake a lot of times the same activities, so the same interest in video games, movies, current events, stuff like that generally. So friends sometimes know their friends better than their own family members do.
Phelps, badge 1247.
How can I help, Detective?
Messages for me, please.
Yes, Detective. The coroner's been asking to speak to you. I can connect the call if you like.
Please, thank you.
Al?
Cole, can you get over here? I just finished the autopsy.
Sure thing, Mal. We'll be right over.
Look where you're going!
The police will compensate you.
Nice move not telling old Sweet Lips in there about her friend taking the big jump till we were half out the door. Very slick.
I figured we'd get more out of her that way.
You're learning, Phelps. We'll make a vice cop out of you yet.
That was also important for the way that Cole was doing that. He probably figured that she was going to ask about her friend just to see the reaction that she had. It seemed genuine to me. I don't think she has anything to do with this, but there's something off about the rings. Like, both her and her friend have, like, really, really expensive rings. There's something not right here. Something's going on.
Cole, Roy, I have some information for you.
You're the only person enjoying this, Mal. Get on with it.
The bruising confirms 2 sets of hands, so we have 2 killers. Death was caused by heart failure due to an overdose of morphine.
Have you dragged us down here to gloat? We already heard your theory.
We agree that she was murdered.
Yes, of course.
I have something else to show you.
All right, Mal, what gives?
The dead guy's name is Jimmy LeBlanc, career burglar. He came in this morning. Someone stove his head in with a lump of 2x4.
So what? Good riddance.
I found 2 Syrettes in his jacket pocket.
Wow.
Hang on a minute, Roy. We're listening, Mal.
No sign of morphine use and no metabolized morphine in his blood. Scratch marks on his face.
Which could be from getting his head remodeled.
Time of death, Mal.
Maybe an hour or 2 after the Randall girl.
So you're saying Laughing Boy here could be one of our killers? That's a hell of a long shot.
Thanks, Mal. We'll check it out.
I found something else.
Sorry, I don't play.
I don't know if it's significant. His wallet was empty. The only other things he was carrying were the harmonica and the morphine. Carruthers. Yeah, he's here. I'll send him over. They have a guy called Henry Arnett in interview 2 for you next door. Let me know how you get on.
Sure, Mal. And thanks for the lead.
Sure, Mal. Thanks for the lead.
I didn't get a chance to look at the body over there yet. So this guy was possibly one of the killers, and this guy is definitely not the person who planned to kill that girl. And the reason is because he was probably killed because he was a possible witness. That's why. So even though he was part of the crime, he helped kill her, he was a witness, and whoever did it is covering this up now. This happens in real life too. Criminals will kill other criminals involved in murders, because the less people that know about it, the chances of that information getting out are slim. And also, if you want to know what kind of criminals I still have this hospital here. If you want to know, if you're curious, what kind of criminals are notorious for killing people involved in crimes? The ones who get rid of the most amount of witnesses. You know who actually kills the most amount of witnesses typically? What types of criminals? You would actually be surprised. People think that it's the mafia, but no. The people that typically kill the most percentage-wise of criminals, of witnesses, are actually corrupt cops. That is actually who does it. What's here? Is there... I wonder if there's like a collectible. I think so. But corrupt cops are notorious for this because corrupt cops know the system really well. And so corrupt cops are going to get rid of witnesses, get rid of people who are involved in crimes often really quickly because they know they can be used as a witness against them.
You need to get back to the case, Detective. I've got reports to write.
I'm at a loss.
We should see what we can shake out of Arnett while we got him in the interview room.
It looks like I'll probably be coming back here then, because I think there's no more music playing, so I think I got everything that I was supposed to get then. Okay. Oh no, not restart. We don't want to do that. Oh, the police station is... I literally got into a car just to... What are you doing jaywalking? You can't cross the street here. You gotta do it at an intersection. Okay.
Arnett is in interview too, Phelps. Go help him get whatever it is off his chest.
Mr. Arnett, I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Earl. Thanks for coming in.
Call me Henry. It's the least I could do. Terrible news about Julia.
I want to see this other guy's, I want to see his hands. Because, I can't even see that well here. It keeps going down. But if somebody uses, like, a, some kind of, blunt instrument or knife, oftentimes their own hand is going to get injured as well. It happens much more with sharp objects. But, he could definitely be somebody involved in this. He could have been the guy who killed the other guy previously. Let's see, relationship with victim.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled for me.
Come clean with us, Arnett. Was Miss Randall your mistress? Is that how she could afford such a lavish lifestyle?
That's a ridiculous allegation. How could you possibly prove that I paid for Julia's things?
Right. The ring... It might be the ring, but it's not necessarily 100%. This...
You're off the hook. For now.
I already don't like that smirk. That smirk that he's giving, I don't like it already. Okay, informed of Mr. Henderson.
Miss Randall's landlady said she was seeing an older man.
Could have been. I wasn't privy to all the details of Julia's private life.
What accuses?
Henry, I don't like when people lie to me. She was seeing a man named Henderson. You know who I'm talking about.
Easy on, Detective. I may have heard of Henderson, but I don't know his full name. I think he's from New York or someplace back east.
San Francisco. I'm gonna try this.
That's funny. Julia told her cleaning lady that he lived in San Francisco.
Okay, you got me. I don't know where he's from. Julia wanted money. She always wanted money. She thought she could get something from this guy.
She was wearing a distinctive engagement ring. You think she might have convinced him to buy it for her?
Maybe he did, yeah. Maybe he and Julia were getting serious. Really? That's everything you need? I have more for you, Detective. I'm sure of it.
I say we bust in there and find the goddamn evidence.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled for me.
I don't like this answer.
Really? That's everything you need? I have more for you, Detective. I'm sure of it.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled for me. Really? That's everything you need? I have more for you, Detective. I'm sure of it.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled for me.
I'll try bad cop.
He's asking whether you banged her in a chuck-on-the-shoulder fraternity kind of way.
I'm engaged to be married. It wouldn't be polite.
Answer the question.
This will remain private? Heather won't have to know? Yes. We had relations.
Burglary suspect, LeBlanc.
Ever heard of a Jimmy LeBlanc?
No. Should I have? Is he an entertainer or something?
Let me see what keep.
I think you're lying. I think Randall was a high-priced hooker, and this Henderson character didn't want it to come out that he had been seeing her. I think he had LeBlanc and an accomplice bump her off. I think you know who Henderson is, and you're trying to conceal his identity.
I think you've been out in the sun too long without your hat. Prove that I know who Henderson is.
I don't think it's a...
You don't ask, you never find out.
He's definitely... I'm pretty sure he's lying. Let me...
Ever heard of a Jimmy LeBlanc?
No. Should I have? Is he an entertainer or something?
So you wouldn't have any reason to believe that LeBlanc would be involved in Julia Randall's murder?
If this guy is a criminal, he might have been involved. But like I said, I've never heard of this LeBlanc character.
He's lying.
Heather told us that you were
The
in
reaction.
fashion.
That's right.
Notice how he can't keep a straight face when he talks with LeBlanc. Henry Arnett.
Some kind of traveling salesman?
Once I got out of the Corps, I used my...
You were in the Marines?
Sure. I'm proud of it. The Fighting 6th.
You were in the 6th Marines?
Yes. I was a captain.
Which company?
Various companies. We had a lot of casualties.
Which engagements?
Okinawa. A couple of other places.
That will be all for now, Henry. You've been very helpful.
This guy is such a liar.
That son of a bitch was never in the Marines. Why'd you let him off the hook?
Because we're giving him a couple of minutes before we start tailing him. Arnett is an amateur. We need to find out who killed the girl. Can you pass this on to Bukowski? Have him check the place out and go through his records.
Sure, I'll pass it on.
Thanks. Can you also have R&I run the records on a Jimmy LeBlanc and find out who was his last arresting officer? Have them get in touch via KGPL when they have some information.
So there's no way that this guy is the mastermind. I can't picture him being the mastermind.
He's in that car at the lights. He was squirming like a worm in there. Don't you love it when they pull the war hero excuse? Actually, maybe you don't.
I'd have expected a cad like Arnett to be a better liar.
Where are you taking us, Henry?
You got a pretty funny idea of what keeping a low profile means, Phelps. Shit, better drop back, Cole.
That idiot never stepped foot in Okinawa.
No, somebody's gotta be a real scumbag to lie about their military service like this.
He needs money and fast. Get in there and find out what he pawned. I'll stick with him, see how he intends to spend the money. Too much slack. Gotta get closer.
Hoof it, Phelps. I'll bring the car around when I'm done here.
Pawn shop. And you see, whatever this guy had that he wanted to get rid of, he had it on him when he went to the police station. Not a very smart idea. Guy definitely is the brightest of bulbs. Where are you going, buddy?
Move in. Can't risk losing the trail.
Travel agent. Wait.
That's right, Mexico City. One-way ticket, please. Next available seat.
That would be 1 day from now. Is that okay?
It's going to have to be.
Mexico City.
LAPD. The man who just came in here. He bought a ticket?
Yes, sir. To Mexico City. Tomorrow night.
If you hear from him again, don't mention this conversation.
What have you got?
He bought a ticket from Mexico City. Tomorrow night.
That's good. But this is better.
Oh my God. It's Fabergé.
Should have seen the look on the pawnbroker's face when I told him to hand it over. The guy who owned the joint thought it was worth at least 10 large for a cigarette case. Arnett only got 600 clams.
Also, Mexico would not extradite somebody back then. And also, if somebody escapes to Mexico, it's so much harder to track them today. Like, if you can show the Mexican government where the person is, they probably will help, but it's still very hard. But back then, it was almost impossible. Yes, if somebody escaped to Mexico, it was almost impossible to get them back.
Operator, message for KGPL.
Putting you through now.
Cole Phelps, badge 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
Are there any messages for me?
Yes, Detective. Detectives Bukowski and Galloway request you return to Hollywood Station. They have information in the Julia Randall case.
Any luck with the arrest record check on Jimmy LeBlanc?
Yes, Detective. Jimmy LeBlanc's last arresting officer was Patrolman Fred Wallace. He's posted the Hollywood 9th Beat Sunset Boulevard between Gordon and Wilcox.
Thanks, ma'am. Any ideas?
We need to talk to the uniform and get the dope on LeBlanc.
And also, for people wondering what's the deal with the cigarette case, a lot of rich people kept their cigarettes in very fancy cases. Some cases even made out of gold.
Looking as guilty as a dog next to a pile of dog shit.
What's his motive?
I can think of a few, but I'd put my money south of the belt. One guy plus 2 dames always equals problems.
Oh, what the?
Come on, let's give him a hand.
Right behind you, Wallace. Detective Phelps.
Well, it looks
Wallace, go left. I'm going right after this little prick in the alley.
Looks like we got some varsity athletes right here. Crap. Okay, this is gonna...
Throw out the guns.
Yeah, that would not protect Cole at all. What Cole is behind right there, that would not protect him.
Give me some cover.
You're pretty brave for a dead man.
need cover!
Are you trying to get yourself killed?
Thanks. Outstanding warrant, armed robbery. Knocked over a drugstore back there, and it looks like he brought his whole posse with him. Bad luck for them.
They're all yours now. We need some information.
Ever heard of a burglar goes by the name of Jimmy LeBlanc?
Sure. We nabbed Jimmy on a burglary beef a couple of years back. They cut through a music shop and into a jewelry.
You know, one thing I found very strange about this guy was a burglar, but he didn't steal that really expensive ring that the girl had. Don't you think that's a bit odd? You think that the burglar would take that? That's one thing I noticed is really odd.
Store. He got 4 years. I miss his partner, though.
His partner?
Big guy. I had him cornered, and he picked up this huge display case and threw it out a plate glass window. Then he vaulted out of there like something out of Barnum and Bailey.
Got away.
I would have had him, except for LeBlanc yelling, "Run for it, Willie!"
And you think he was an acrobat of some sort?
More like a strongman, a wrestler, or a boxer, that kind of thing.
Thanks. You've been a big help.
You haven't done too badly yourself.
Really? Hollywood police.
You're suggesting LeBlanc is still working with Willie?
A strong man held down Randall while someone administered the morphine. Someone with muscle opened up LeBlanc's skull. Could be.
Yeah, it has to be a big guy to inflict a wound like that.
Any Central unit of 484 just occurred, 3155 West 4th Street. Unit to handle code 3, identify.
Okay, what's going on over here?
We caught up with Mao. He's given us the dope on LeBlanc.
He worked burglaries with a big guy. Goes by the name of Willie. He might be our killer. Can you work boxing gyms, the Y, promoters, that kind of stuff?
Since when have you started giving orders, Phelps? And where's the burglary angle? There was no sign of a...
That's where Arnett comes in. Next stop, we speak to Lacey about a list of recent burglaries.
Guy's a bum. His office is a front, and he's behind on the rent and his phone bill.
And he's skipping town. Tomorrow.
Let's get him in and beat it out of it.
Do you want to bring in the killer, Rusty?
It could be too smart for your own good, Phelps. We've been talking about that, haven't we, Roy? Stefan?
Finbar?
Sir, I need the contraband list. Items stolen over the last year.
Oh god, it's gonna be so much.
I'll dig out a copy for you.
It's gonna be so much.
Here you go.
Thanks.
Is the cigarette case on there?
It's here. Arnett must be out of his mind trying to move this while under a murder cloud.
Somebody stole a Bible? Okay, people will steal anything. Miss Beverly and...
Julia Randall's ring. It's here.
Black sapphire ring. Yeah, I didn't notice it. From a Miss Beverly... Eavesdrum. Say we bust in there and find the goddamn evidence. What about another ring? Hang on a sec.
Even the engagement ring was purloined. Arnett is a cad.
Yep.
What now?
Okay. We check out this Eastern broad and see if we can make the link between the burglars and Arnett.
Seems Julia wasn't the first bored society girl to hide her bennies in that pillbox.
Yeah, so it seems the pillbox was also stolen. Curious whether Julia knew that. I knew there was something off about that pillbox when I saw that there. So curious whether Julia knew that the stuff that she had was stolen. That's curious whether he knew that.
So you and Rusty have been having discussions. Anything you would like to tell me, partner?
Phelps, don't be so touchy. Rusty had his best ever clearance rate working with you. Even if the cases he worked on can't be discussed. We were just comparing notes. You're a Booneroo case man, Phelps. One of the best I've ever seen.
Thanks.
You gotta learn to take a compliment, Phelps.
Any in the vicinity officer needs assistance, 18.
A hopped-up model, a cad, and a circus freak. Only in L.A.
Fairy tales of the rich and famous.
More like pathetic tales of the desperate to be rich and famous. Junkie Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Arnett, LeBlanc, and Willie.
Don't you go putting the pieces together again before they fit, Phelps. Listen to your old pal Rusty. Or should I say Finbar.
I wouldn't call him that if I were you.
What do you care? It doesn't sound like you're the top of his Christmas card list.
He gives everyone a hard time. That's just how he is.
Whatever gets you through the day, Cole.
This Henderson guy, we still haven't found out what his connection to the case is, though. He could be Willie. Okay, this is very far, this part of...
Officer needs help, 103 and B.
Yeah, this is very far. Wow, look at this place. Yeah, this is where all the really expensive stuff came from.
House.
Okay.
LAPD, ma'am. Is Mrs. Eavestrom in?
She is. Would you follow me, sir?
Wonder what this person does for a living here.
I am Mrs. Eavestrom. How may I help you?
We appear to have recovered some stolen goods that belong to you, ma'am.
Yes, of course. That terrible burglary. Would you like something to drink?
No, thank you, ma'am. We have some questions, if you don't mind.
Why would I mind, young man? If you are returning 43 pieces of
43.
Okay, before we get down to that, I'll have a scotch. Thanks, straight up.
Maria, can you get the detective a drink, please?
Wealthy burglary victim. See here. List of stolen items.
Can you describe to us what was stolen?
It would be easier to describe what wasn't stolen, Detective. A priceless tiara that has been in the family for 50 years. a Fabergé cigarette case that was worth $25,000.
Burglary incident.
What can you tell us about the burglary?
A terrible night. At least a year ago. But let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you've recovered.
I'm gonna go bad cop.
I get the sense that
come
you're
on.
worried about something, Mrs. Eastrom.
I have already received the insurance claim, Detective. Is there any way we could keep the return of these items discreet?
Okay. Get this done. List of stolen items.
Can you describe to us what was stolen?
It would be easier to describe what wasn't stolen, Detective. A priceless tiara that has been in the family for 50 years. A Fabergé cigarette case that was worth $25,000.
Valued at $10,000.
Why are you lying about the value of your jewelry, Mrs. Eastrom?
Who do you think you are, making heinous accusations in my own home?
We recovered the cigarette case from a pawnbroker. No one knows the real value of an item better than those guys.
True.
I inflated its value for the insurance claim. There. Are you satisfied? My daughter's boyfriend was quite taken with the case. I think he was even more disappointed than I was when
Who's
it
your
was
daughter's
stolen.
boyfriend? Burglary incident.
What can you tell us about the burglary?
A terrible night. At least a year ago. But let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you've recovered.
So, the thing is, though, is that this one right here, this is truth, good cop. Which, to me, this makes no sense that this is good cop. No sense whatsoever. I picked bad cop before, which is I restarted this section here. But I don't know how this is good cop, how this one is. Because if you look at this here, that terrible night, at least a year ago. But let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you've recovered. She doesn't want to talk about the burglary at all. She doesn't want to talk about it. And so the whole purpose of bad cop is there when you feel that it's there for two reasons. One, when the people are lying to you but you don't have evidence, that's when you use bad cop. And two, when they are withholding information, when you think that they are withholding something, use bad cop. I mean, just look at this one again. Like, this was just not...
What can you tell us about the burglary?
A terrible night. At least a year ago. But let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you've recovered.
This should be bad cop. In my opinion, this should be bad cop because she doesn't want to talk about the burglary. She's avoiding it. I don't know how this is good cop. It makes no sense to me, but it's good cop.
Were you in the house when the burglary took place?
Good heavens, no. I was at a social function held by a Dr. Harold Stoneman and his lovely wife.
What?
I returned home and all of my things were missing.
The doctor?
That's about it for now, Mrs. Eastrom. The department will get in touch.
That can't be a
let you know how
coincidence.
you can recover your valuables.
You have only mentioned a few of the items that have been stolen, Detective. What else has been recovered?
You see, Phelps? That's why you get the drinks in early.
Hello, Mother. Hello, detectives. What is going on?
Somebody's going to jail right now.
You have met my daughter?
This morning at work. Oh, mother and father divorced. I took my father's name.
Somebody's going to jail right now.
Recovered some of the things that were stolen, darling.
What did you find?
A sapphire ring. on the corpse of Julia Randall.
What are you talking about?
Your engagement ring, Miss Swanson. Would you be surprised to know that it was part of the proceeds of a burglary?
That's an outrageous allegation.
Yes, it is. I suggest we go straight to Henry Arnett's place and sort this mess out.
Well-known radio singers and orchestras are heard here.
This is this is not a coincidence at all. Zero.
I'm missing something here. Arnett is obviously arranging the burglaries.
That's my fiance you're making scurrilous accusations about.
And Randall was obviously his partner.
But neither of them are the type to creep apartments.
You're being ridiculous. Both of you. There's a very good explanation for all of this.
Put a sock in it, sister. You're being played for a patsy and you're not even smart enough to see it.
How does she not know that her boyfriend is the burglar? It's like, I find this hard to believe. And the ring that she wears, the ring that she has, the ring that was bought for her, apparently that ring was used, the money from the burglary is used to buy that ring. So honestly, if she has nothing to do with this, I'm gonna be generally surprised. But I think that she has something to do with this. She knows something. It could just be that she's a complete idiot, and and Arnett was only dating her just so he could break into the house, gain access to the house, find out the layout of the house. If that's the case, that's why they never caught Arnett, because the fact that she would never suspect him. Arnett has some serious explaining to do right now. Ah, crap. And also, if you're wondering, can Cole do that when he took her with him? Yes, because police can detain you if they believe that you are a part of a crime. So even if they don't have necessarily direct evidence, if they have massive suspicion that you are part of a crime, they can temporarily detain you. And that's basically what happened here. This is not a coincidence. And she wasn't that surprised to see the detectives too. Just because it's her mother that got ripped off doesn't make her innocent. She could have still been part of it. Okay, Arnett's got some explaining to do right now.
Come on, sister. Let's find out who your fiance really is.
They gotta be careful bringing her because she could scream to warn him.
Welcome, sir. I'm sorry, are you a resident?
LAPD detectives. We're here to speak to Henry Arnett.
Oh, Mr. Arnett? Apartment 30. You can take the lift.
Thank you.
Well, isn't this just nice and awkward?
Stop!
What the hell?
Don't kill him, Cole. This guy's our case.
Go on,
Put your hands in the air!
Looks like we got another varsity athlete right here.
Give it up, LAPD! Don't make me chase you!
Crap. I hate these ones where you gotta, like, balance yourself like this.
Looks like he got you good, Phelps.
Yeah, he really packs a wallop. How did I get back here?
Under your own steam, miraculously. You came in through the window, said hello, and then keeled over.
How was Arnett?
He's coming round, too. He's all hopped up. Good time to get some answers.
You missing something, Henry?
Mexico City.
You told Heather you're honeymooning without her? Vacheron Constantine. That's an extremely expensive watch, Henry.
A graduation present from my parents.
And it looks like he's got a uniform in there too, but that's an M1 Garand that's hanging over that table too.
Doesn't tell me anything.
Okay. Professional
We know all about the jewelry ring. You and Randall and LeBlanc and Willie doing the legwork.
I'm in the fashion business.
You're lying, Henry.
How can you prove that I'm involved, Detective?
Cigarette case.
Because you pawned a Fabergé cigarette case today for $600. A case that is on a list of stolen items.
It was Julia's idea. Get a list of society parties and find out where and when and then have the guests burgled. Julia was desperate for money. No matter how much we made, she always wanted more.
Motive for Randall murder.
Why did Reed and LeBlanc kill Julia Randall?
I wanted to stop, to get out of that life. I was going to marry Heather if she'd have me. Julia told the others that they were out, that she was going to create a new gang.
You're lying, Arnett. I think you ordered them to kill her. It was made to look like suicide, and when the coroner saw through that, you knew it was time to run.
I told you I was involved in the burglaries. I had nothing to do with Julia's death. Why would I need to run?
Ticket. Train ticket to Mexico City purchased by Henry Arnett. People took trains a lot back then. People didn't take planes because planes were something that only rich people took back then.
Have you told Miss Swanson that you're leaving for Mexico City tomorrow night? That it's a one-way ticket?
Henry? Tell me it isn't true.
I had no choice. I wanted to marry Heather. I told Julia I wanted out, and she laughed in my face. I had to pay Willie and Jimmy a fortune to do her, and now I'm completely broke.
What you are, Buster, is under arrest.
So literally, he just admitted that he paid them to kill her, to silence her. Oh, he's done.
You won't let me leave until we finish this, Detective, so you'd best get on with it.
Identity of Mr. Henderson.
Who is Henderson, and what is his involvement?
Tell them what you know, Henry. I'll stand by you if you'll only tell the truth.
There is no Henderson.
I wonder if Henderson is the doctor. That's what I'm really curious on. Good accused.
Tell me about your first burglary, and don't lie.
I can't remember. I don't keep a list of these things.
I'm gonna go with the contraband list. Hope it's right.
Your first burglary was a Dr. Harold Stoneman. You want to explain how he is involved, or shall I?
Henderson is Stoneman.
I knew it!
He was crazy about you.
I knew it! I knew it!
Get him to do whatever she wished. He threw the parties, and we arranged the burglaries. Julia never let him touch her. She just kept him hanging on the promise. Drove the good doctor almost insane.
Henry Arnett, you are under arrest for burglary and for the murder of Julia Randall.
Henderson is Stoneman, all right? I'm not the guy you want. Go talk to the good doctor.
Oh, we will, knucklehead. Meanwhile, we're fitting you for convict stripes.
He's gonna get the death penalty or life in prison. He's never getting out. He's done. Okay, let's go and get the doctor now.
I guess the wedding's off.
He only robbed her mother and killed her best friend. Cut the guy some slack.
So how does the doctor fit in?
That's what... We're about to find out. Maybe we should ask him to give you a quick once-over. That meathead gave you one hell of a pasting.
I've had worse.
You should have seen yourself staggering back in there like a drunken sailor.
Next time you can take the runner, Roy.
I didn't box in the Marines, though, did I?
I should have never told you that.
It's ridiculous how many people are involved in this case.
Time for the doctor to give us something to make this all better. Hang on a moment, sister. Tell him it's Henry Arnett, and tell him it's urgent.
I can't do that.
Tell him, or I'll charge you with obstruction of justice.
Doctor, I'm afraid Mr. Arnett is here to see you, and he says it's urgent.
Send him in.
They confirmed the connection right there.
Never to come.
Tell us the truth, Doctor.
I'm so glad you came. Prison will be better than insanity, and I'm already half insane with grief. Do you know that I loved her? I ruined my life for her, and yet I still love her.
Will you testify in court that Arnett and Randall did these robberies?
They organized the robberies. Julie would get the names of the guests attending my wife's parties. Didn't matter how much money I showered upon her, it was never enough. She never really cared for me.
Doctor, I'm afraid you're under arrest.
The practice. You'll call Dr. Gerard. No. Please don't cry. I want to see no one. Not my wife or my children, nor my friends. And I don't want a lawyer. Just lock me up and throw me.
He's gonna jump out the window. Wait, oh.
What have I done?
I knew it. I knew the second he looked at that window, I knew he was gonna jump out the window.
Operator, give me R&I.
Putting you through now.
I need an ambulance and the coroner immediately to the offices of Dr. Harold Stoneman, 1646 Ivor Street, Hollywood.
En route, Detective. You have a message. Detective Bukowski says the suspect is named Wilson Willie the Wolf Reed, former wrestler. Last known address is an apartment building at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Detective Bukowski says to meet them there.
On our way. We have an address for the runner.
Let's try and wrap this up then.
That old boy really fell for that broad.
She was incredibly beautiful, boy.
Would you throw it all away for a woman?
Life has a way of making you pay for your pride.
You're quite the romantic, Phelps. Stick with the percentages. Broken hearts are for chumps.
You're talking from experience.
I certainly am. Oh, I like women as much as the next guy. As long as they're in their place and doing what they're told.
How bad is it? Come on, you
Thank
can
God
tell me.
I didn't park there.
Okay, what did Roy just knock someone down? Oh, he's literally across the street? Seriously?
He's around here somewhere. A big guy. Neighbors say he always wears basketball shoes and a cream jacket. And get this. The kids around here say he plays the harmonica.
Find a game well and have the commander set up a dragnet. We want the area closed off. We'll take this out of the street.
A harmonica playing wrestler. That's a weird one. Think he knits as well?
Just keep your eyes open and your mouth shut. We don't want him to bolt on us.
Where are we going?
Wilson Reed, LAPD, give yourself up.
Okay, I want to see if we can take this guy alive, hopefully. We can get some more answers out of this. And this guy runs a lot. Okay. Man, this guy...
Hold it. He's got to be around here somewhere. No place to go unless he grew wings. There he is. Waste the son of a bitch.
They just already hit him? Am I supposed to shoot him? I guess I'm supposed to shoot him.
Son of a bitch really picked a spot for it up here, didn't he? Julia Randall's folks are flying in from New York tomorrow to claim the body. I saw her on the slab. So perfect. Looked like she was made of porcelain. She really made an impression on me.
Julia had that impact on a lot of men.
Christ, it's cold. You guys did good work here today. Roy, I think you should buy your brother officers a drink.
Do you now? That's very generous of you, Lieutenant.
There were so many questions in this case. Julia Randall lived fast and died young, sending one man to jail and another, and 3 to the morgue. So, so there's one thing I don't get here. If somebody can explain to me in the comments, because this was my first time doing this case. So basically, if I'm getting this right, is that Julia was involved in the burglary ring with Arnett. It was, you know, he was involved with Arnett, and they were part of this burglary ring. And they were just breaking into, the doctor was part of the ring as well, and the doctor's wife would hold, like, these parties for rich people, right? And what would happen is that he would tell them basically where these parties were happening, you know, when, and they would come in and they would steal all the stuff. Am I getting that right? And what ended up happening was that Arnett wanted to get out of that lifestyle because he wanted to marry Heather, who he fell in love with. But what happened was Julia was blackmailing him, and so he thought that she was gonna snitch on him, and so he paid off those 2 guys to have her killed. Am I getting this right? And then, and they tried to make it look like an accident. But my question is, though, there's one thing I don't understand. If somebody can explain to me in the comments, why did the wrestler guy at the end, the guy that we killed, why did he kill the other guy? That's what I don't understand. Why did he do that? Because he was an extra witness? So, and the doctor killed himself. Did the doctor have anything to do with her death? I don't know if he did. Because he was just organizing the parties. Was that just it? He was providing the information to the ring. That was his role in it. But I don't know if he directly ordered her murder. But he was definitely part of the ring, the burglary ring. So he was gonna, you know, lose his, you know, his doctor's license. He was gonna lose his clinic. And that's why he jumped out. But how did they explain why the other guy got killed, though? That's what I'm, yeah. But and here's the thing: is Julia was not an innocent woman. You know, she was, you know, a criminal. You know, she was part of this burglary ring. But everyone deserves justice. You know, even if somebody's a criminal and they were killed, you know, nobody deserves to die. And so everybody deserves justice too. And that's the thing is, you know, not every single person that died, that was, you know, murdered was, you know, a good person as well too. So that's basically it there. And Julia never loved the doctor. She never loved him. The reason he used the name Henderson was because so that his wife wouldn't find out about the affair. But Julia never loved him too, and he took that very personally. Do I get a cutscene here? Oh, I do. Okay.
The whole company is gone, Hank. The major is dead. We're being overrun. We have to get off of this hill.
That's one of our 50 cals still firing, Cole. The 22nd are still fighting.
It's over, Cole. Looks like you're one of the lucky ones.
Say goodbye to your friend Hank, Jack.
He was your friend too, Cole. Is this how you're going to leave him? Are you wounded?
Not a scratch, Kelso.
Well, get up and get out of that fucking hole! Find a stretcher while you're at it so we can get him out of here.
Who's the senior officer here?
I guess that's you, Cole.
You were up here all night?
Yes, sir.
And your command?
Gone, sir.
Sorry to hear that, son. God damn it, we have beaten these bastards back. It's the beginning of the end, and it was one here. You're a goddamn hero, son. What's your name?
Lieutenant Phelps, sir.
I'm recommending you for the Silver Star and promoting you to first lieutenant.
Did he really deserve that, though? That's the thing is. It was a terrible attack. So we will wrap this up here. The next case, the final Vice case. But did I get that all right, guys? Can somebody explain that to me in the comments? If I got that right, is that Julia and Arnett were part of the burglary ring? It doesn't seem that Heather was involved. I don't think Heather was part of it. But it was Heather's mother that was one of the victims that was robbed, and the doctor pretended to be Henderson. Had brought in, had told them where these rich people lived, and they would basically, hit those places. And then because because Arnett wanted to get out, he had Julia killed. But then the other guy killed the, then the wrestler guy killed the other guy, killed one of the burglars. I don't know why Willie did that, why he killed the other burglar, but that was a bit confusing to me. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, drop a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.